From rabbit attacks to dancing plagues, here are some crazy history facts you won't learn anywhere else. Napoleon was almost killed by a pack of rabbits.
Huh?
It was the year 1796, and Napoleon was stationed in Egypt with his army. One day, he went for a walk along the coast when suddenly a horde of rabbits emerged from nowhere and attacked him. His soldiers eventually came to his rescue, and Napoleon survived the ordeal relatively unscathed. However, this close encounter with death left him traumatized, and he never went for a walk alone again. During World War II, a pigeon was awarded a medal for bravery. Pigeons have been used as messengers throughout history, but none more famous than Cher Ami, a bird who served in World War II. On October 4, 1918, Cher Ami was tasked with delivering a message to U.S. troops in France. The message was vital as American forces had become separated from their allies and needed assistance. Despite being injured and with one leg amputated, Cherie raced through enemy fire and delivered the message successfully. Her actions saved countless lives, and she was awarded the French Croix de Guerre Medal, one of the highest military honors in France, the Dancing Plague. In the year 1518, a strange and terrifying event occurred in the streets of Strasbourg, France. Hundreds of people began dancing uncontrollably and didn't stop until they dropped dead from exhaustion. This bizarre outbreak continued for several weeks, causing widespread panic and confusion. Some historians believe it may have been an early case of mass psychogenic illness, while others attribute it to ergot poisoning, a condition caused by contaminated rye flour. Whatever the cause, the dancing plague remains a mysterious and unsettling chapter in history. Russia was late to the Olympics because of a calendar. The year was 1908, and the Summer Olympics were being held in London. Russia was eager to participate and show off their athletes. But there was a problem. The Russian Empire used the Julian calendar, which was 13 days behind the Gregorian calendar used by most of the rest of the world. This meant that when the Olympics began on April, Russia's delegation was still celebrating New Year. They didn't arrive in London until April, just in time for the opening ceremony. Imagine showing up to your friend's birthday party 13 days late. Talk about an awkward entrance. The shortest war in history lasted only 38 minutes. On June 23, 1896, two British warships sailed into Zanzibar to enforce a new treaty. The Sultan of Zanzibar, however, refused to sign the treaty and instead opened fire on the British ships. The British responded with overwhelming force, and the battle was over in just 38 minutes. The Sultan's army was defeated and he fled into exile. To this day, the Anglo-Zanzibar War is recognized as the shortest war in recorded history. Abraham Lincoln ordered the Secret Service hours before his assassination. On April 14, 1865, Abraham Lincoln attended a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Just hours before the performance, he asked his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, to hire bodyguards to protect him from assassination. Although Mary understood her husband's concerns, she believed that the threat of assassination was overblown and declined to take any action. Tragically, this decision would have dire consequences, as Lincoln was assassinated later that night by John Wilkes Booth. Had Lincoln's security detail been in place, it's possible that the assassination could have been prevented, or at least Booth's identity established more quickly. In 1919, a wave of mysterious illnesses swept across the United States. At the time, doctors were baffled by the sudden onset of symptoms such as fever, chills, headache, and vomiting. It wasn't until much later that researchers discovered the true cause of the outbreak: poisonous mushrooms. These deadly fungi had been growing in the mulch used to cushion the floors of railroad cars and were releasing spores that caused illness. As the disease spread, so did the panic. People were afraid to leave their homes for fear of contracting the deadly fungus. The situation became so dire that President Woodrow Wilson declared a public health emergency and ordered the U.S. Army to seize all mulch shipments entering the country. Thanks to these swift measures, the deadly outbreak was eventually contained. In January of 1920, a molasses disaster struck the North End neighborhood of Boston, Massachusetts. At around 12:30 p.m., a storage tank containing 2.5 million gallons of molasses burst, sending a massive wave of sticky brown liquid surging through the streets. The wave was so powerful that it knocked people off their feet and even capsized a nearby schooner. As the molasses spread, it destroyed buildings and trapped motorists in their vehicles. In total, 21 people lost their lives as a result of the disaster, including 15 who drowned in the sticky mess. The cleanup process was long and difficult, and it took weeks to remove all of the molasses from the streets. The cause of the accident was never determined, but it's believed that a combination of factors, including faulty construction and fluctuating temperatures, contributed to the disaster. Johnny Appleseed was a real person. If you grew up in the United States, chances are you heard the story of Johnny Appleseed, the legendary figure said to have planted apple trees across the country in the early 1800s. What many people don't realize is that Johnny Appleseed was a real person whose legacy lives on today. Born John Chapman in Massachusetts in 1774, Chapman began his life's work as a nurseryman, selling apple, pear, and cherry trees to settlers moving west. He traveled on foot and wore simple clothing, living a life of solitude and simplicity. Despite facing many hardships, including financial struggles and the loss of his wife, Chapman continued his mission to provide fruit trees to settlers throughout the Midwest. Today, we remember Johnny Appleseed as a symbol of American ingenuity and the importance of preserving our natural heritage. Although this list is not exhaustive, these are just a few of the many crazy history facts that you won't learn anywhere else. We hope you enjoyed learning about these weird and wacky events from the past. Now it's your turn. What are some of your favorite crazy history facts? Share them with us in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more entertaining historical tales. Thanks for watching.